Well, hey, everybody. It's good to see you all tonight. Coming up on the 6 o'clock hour. And we wanted to go ahead and start letting everyone make their way in. Excited about the new Rotary year. And we're going to talk a lot about the plans for this year. But if you could, as always is the tradition, go ahead and put in the chat box where you're from and what club. And excited to hear where everyone's from this year. So go ahead and put that in the chat box. Make sure everyone is all logged in and knows where the chat box is. So we have Key Largo, Enrique, and anyone else? So what we got? Oh, Susan Corder, Lakewood Ranch, of course. Rotarian of the Year for 6960. All right. So hey, Susan, Columbus, Georgia. We have some from Banks County, St. Kitts. Great. All right. See some folks from 6910. See Mike Berg coming in. Very good. Well, to be mindful of everyone's time, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 6:01, and we'll get this show started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's see. We want desktop 3 over here. All right. So make sure I can see everybody. It's always good to see smiling faces. Although sometimes I have seen someone sleeping during one of my presentations, so I am watching. I don't think I'm that boring, but anyway, we were prepping for this, and we were kind of alluding to the fact that this is kind of like when your kids get ready to go to school, and it's meet the teacher. It's the open house, and this is where you get to ask us lots of questions about the coming year, and we get to talk about the plans that we have for this year, the exciting plans. It's a great theme this year, serve to change lives. There's a lot of exciting stuff around public image that we can leverage this year, and just really want to, open this up, make it interactive. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. I want to give our team members a chance to introduce themselves tonight. And we did have a couple of folks that at the last minute had some conflicts, and so they won't be on the call tonight, but definitely great to see all these great faces. So with that, as always, we like to put this up first because we do talk a lot about, we provide a lot of links to a lot of resources that we've put together. And so we always want to put this slide up first. So if you have your phone out, just take a picture of that QR code and it should open up on your phone. Or if you're on a desktop computer, that link to the slides will take you right there where you can view. I'm actually going to drop them into the chat so that you can also get them that way too. So you can follow along with us. Don't jump ahead though. So first thing first, meet the Zone 34 Public Image Team. So of course, every year Rotary has a fresh start on July 1st, and the Public Image Team is no different. We represent, my goodness, it's 8, 11, 14 districts, 750 Rotary clubs across, I think, 15 countries or 20 something countries, 15 languages, I think it is. So it's quite vast what this team covers in terms of Georgia, Florida, the Caribbean, and part of the South America, the northern tip of it. But this is my 5th year on the Public Image Team, and I can tell you that this team has developed just an incredible culture over the years. A lot of it started a couple of years ago when my predecessor, Sheila Bethel, was in charge of this team, and just developed a dynamic amount of energy and enthusiasm and a cool culture, whether we're online or together. We have had to adapt this past year with the pandemic, but I don't think this team has missed a beat. I think that we're still, providing service to all the districts, all the clubs, and helping with your public image strategies, and want to continue to do that. But with the bonus this year that hopefully we're going to get to come visit a lot of you as well. I know right now we're kind of seeing that little up spike of the Delta variant. Hopefully that's going to get tamped down pretty quickly, because as Rotarians, we all know that vaccines work, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But hopefully we'll get a chance to come visit and see a lot of you all this year. We're going to go ahead and start by taking 2 or 3 minutes to introduce each one of us and kind of our background and where we're from. And here's another link that I'm gonna put in here so that if you want to get our contact information, you can take a look at the team flyer. But starting off with me, I was the district governor for Rotary 6970 during John Jerm's All-Star year of 2016 to 2017. That is me riding in the Rotary Ride to End Polio. My district offered to make a pretty good contribution in terms of district designated funds to the polio campaign, but I had to ride 107 miles on a bike to get it. And doggone it, I was going to get that money. And so it was a great experience, and resulted in a whole lot of vaccines for kids. And so born and raised here in Jacksonville, and from the Rotary Club of West Jacksonville. Next up, we have, let me jump back to me real quick. This year, I'll be serving, historically, we've served geographically. A lot of times our team has been split up so that we can serve geographic areas. We learned during the pandemic that isn't necessarily the only way we need to split up, because virtually we can reach anywhere within Zone 34 or around the world. We've learned that through our webinars. We have folks from around the world participate in these webinars, but primarily if you are in Rotary 6890, 6980, 6930, or here in 6970, I'll be your primary contact. I'll be the person that you can reach out to for assistance, to speak to clubs, for help with strategy, stuff like that. Next up, we have William Ennis. William is he's starting his third year as an assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator. William is our man down on the islands. He's in Grand Cayman. So if you're in Zone 34 and your district starts with a 7,000, 7020, or 7030, William is your man. And William, he does a fantastic job. He's also the district public image chair for Rotary 7020, but does a great job. If you have questions about the use of the Rotary logo, the master brand, or the mark of excellence, William is a great resource. And he is someone that you can reach out to if you have questions about how to use the logo appropriately.
Speaking of logo, what's up with the logo on these slides, Marshall?
Well, I was running late putting this deck together, and so I did a Google search for Rotary logo, and that's the first thing that showed up. That's not right?
No.
Something wrong?
No.
No? What, Kim, what should I do if I'm looking for the Rotary logo? Not do a Google search?
No, go to the brand center on Rotary International.
The brand center. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but yeah, please do not do Google searches for Rotary images, because you will always get, not always, but it's not the best solution. So Kim, with that, I'm going to hand it off to you and tell us a little bit about yourself, Kim.
So I've been in Rotary since 2011, and I am an assistant Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 6900, 6910, and 6940. This is my second year, and I've been a Rotary president for the Rotary Club of Bainbridge, and I was there for several years, and then I moved to Thomasville and joined the club there, and was Rotary president year before last. So I love Rotary, and I'm really excited to be part of this team. And we're doing awesome things and sharing lots of great stuff. So make sure you spread the word and get everyone on your in your club to jump on board and learn, because they can take these skills not just for Rotary, but for their businesses and personal, and it's a huge help.
That's a great point, Kim. We do think that a lot of what we're doing, it's vocational training. I mean, it really does go to the heart of Rotary, because the things that we're teaching absolutely can be taken to your business and applied there. Or, a lot of us take what we learn in our businesses and bring to Rotary. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later on as well. But Kim is in the primary contact. Well, actually, she shares 6900 with Kirk Driscoll, immediate past district governor of 6900. But Kim also helps with 6910 and 6940, so the panhandle of Florida. So Kim is the person to reach out to if you need help or have questions. Speaking of immediate past district governor. I don't think Kirk is on the call. I think he had something come up, but he is one of the newest members of the team and comes to us from the Rotary Club of Alpharetta. And like I said, immediate past district governor. So right now I know he is busy wrapping up a lot of loose ends from his year as governor. I know he has a big celebration, district celebration coming up in a couple of weeks. And so he'll be joining us in the next month or so, getting fully on board. But Kirk is going to be handling 6900 with Kim, as well as 6920. So two of the Georgia districts. And then we have the newest member of the team, and super excited to have Alison join us. Alison.
Hey everyone, I'm Alison Charney Hussey, and I am a member of the Rotary Club of Cape Coral currently, although I work on Sanibel, so I very often frequent Sanibel Captiva Rotary Club as well as everywhere else in 6960, I think. I was actually an ambassadorial scholar in 1992. That tells you maybe my age a little bit. And have been in Rotary ever since I graduated from law school. I have been a past president. I've served our district in numerous capacities, and I visited some of those clubs in 7020 quite a bit, as well as I think it was 6920 that Kelsey and I did a stint up at one of the district conferences. So I'm super excited to serve in this role and thrilled to be a part of the team, and hope that I can lend some advice, ears, whatever. I'm here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, Alison. And there's no truth to the rumor that we needed legal representation to cover any potential liabilities for this club, this team.
I'm a recovering attorney. I'm a recovering attorney. But I'll tell you how to save wildlife. How about that?
That's awesome. Yeah. So Alison's going to be your primary contact if you're in Rotary 6950. So that's the mid-west coast of Florida, 6960, which is her backyard, the southwest part of Florida, or 6990. So that's the Miami, Fort Myers, Key West area. So southern southwest Florida is what Alison's going to be helping us with this year. So with that, let's jump right into it. And so, yeah, you know, we joke about it, protecting the mark of excellence. But this is something super important that we just want to emphasize at the beginning of the year. And I know many of you have jumped onto the public image citation and the social media audit that is a part of that. And, you know, one of the things is on that audit, it asked, did you check and make sure the logo is appropriate on that? Because last year, the Rotary Board of Directors mandated that all districts be in compliance in terms of using the appropriate branding, logos, and images. And this coming year, by the end of 21-22, they're asking that all clubs be in compliance. And so, you know, not that we have the Rotary Police. There is no such thing as Rotary Police. Well, there may be. We're more like Rotary coaches. Let's put it that way. That's past Rotary Public Image Coordinator Sheila Bethel. It was a great Halloween costume, but they're asking that we be compliant at the club level by the end of this year. And it's super easy to do. There's a lot of resources online. We can provide you with resources. As I mentioned, William is a great resource because you really you don't want the Rotary Police coming after you. The ironic thing is this is the most egregious violation of Rotary logo standards that I've ever seen on this slide. But if you don't want to violate Rotary standards, it's super easy. This has worked 99.9% of the times that we've tested it. If you go to Google and type in telling Rotary story and say, I'm feeling lucky, the very first thing you're going to get is the PDF. That is the Rotary Visual Identity Standard Guide. So just go to Google and say telling Rotary story and hit I'm feeling lucky. And let me know in the comments if I'm not right, but the Rotary SEO is working pretty well on this. It's pretty important to them. So make sure that you're telling this is the document that you'll download, the Tell Rotary Story Voice and Visual Identity Guidelines. This document has everything that you'll ever want to know what colors to use, whether you're printing something or if you're using the web colors. It tells you what logo to use when you have a busy background, what logo to use when you have a dark background. It tells you the fonts. It also helps you with the Rotary voice, you know, the kind of terms that we want to talk, the language that we want to use when we talk about Rotary, you know, that people of action language. So you definitely want to download this document. And we also, I'm going to go ahead and drop it here in the chat as well. We have a toolkit that we put together last year, and we continue to refine it and update it. And we do have the identity guidelines in that document as well. And just as I put that up there, I'm going to click it real quick. Yep, it worked. So that link is good. So you can go find it on our toolkit. So this is the logo for the year. That's President Shaker, and it's Serve to Change Lives. And you know, this again is a fantastic brand that our theme that we're using this year. And we have seen recently out in the wild some people using this logo on the left. That is not the correct logo. That is a pin being sold by Russell Hampton. We don't use that logo. That is not the official logo. The one on the right is the official logo. So don't use the Russell Hampton. Don't do advertising for Russell Hampton, although they're a great company. Let's use the right one, which is it's the right one. So be sure to use the correct logo. And I have seen some websites that still have the 3 doors. If you have that on your website still, please take that down. Holger was a fantastic president. Rotary Opens Opportunities was a fantastic theme, but that one went to bed at June 30 at midnight. Although I do like Holger's pants. Holger has some really nice pants there. It's funny. I've even seen I've seen some people still using Barry's theme, Be the Inspiration. So please make sure that you're checking your logos and using the right themes for the current year. One more time, Rotary Serve to Change Lives. That's the correct one. So next up, a lot of folks have been asking about the Public Image Citation, and a lot of folks have gotten busy doing the Public Image Citation. We sent out an email a couple of months ago, and we've sent some communications out. And, you know, in the past, this was something where we would send out a glossy brochure, and we would have, you know, do 3 things in this column, do 2 things in this column, and do all the things in this column. And we would see just a whole bunch of activity by Rotary districts and Rotary clubs to do all the check marks. And then there was just kind of this quiet period from maybe September, October until March, when club presidents started asking their public image chairs, are we going to get the citation? And then we saw a lot more activity, like, oh my gosh, I forgot to check all these boxes. And that's really, you know, in public image, that's not what we want to do. We want to be consistent. And we talk about don't ghost and post, or post and ghost. Don't have a whole lot of activity and then go silent, because we know that if we're consistent, that really helps out with the algorithms if we're using social media. But it also helps reinforce and helps with the communication that, you know, just very consistent instead of getting lost and people forgetting about us. We always want to be front of mind. And so we want to make sure we're very consistent. So we've kind of created a citation where every month we have a task for everyone to complete. And the other part of this process and the idea and the structure around the citation is we want to help public image chairs and clubs create and develop sustainable strategies. We want this to be a repeatable solution every year. We know some years you might have someone that absolutely, you know, is awesome at public image and they just knock it out of the park. But some years you may have someone that you want to provide them an opportunity for leadership and service, and they may be a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit scared about, you know, being the public image chair. And it's really, you know, if you go back and we'll put the link in our notes to our public image bootcamp. It's not hard to be the public image chair, but we also want to create these repeatable solutions where, you know, at the beginning of the year, you do your audit and you go make sure that you're using the right logo across all of your media channels. You're also checking the location across all your channels. We know during the pandemic, a lot of clubs changed where they meet. And if Kirk was here tonight, he would tell you he went to make a couple of club visits last year, and he showed up at a restaurant and they said, oh yeah, they haven't met here in, you know, a month. They moved down the road. And so you want to make sure that all your public facing information is accurate. And so that's why we have that audit as kind of that first step. And then that second step is putting together that public image plan. You know, what are your goals for the year? What do you want to accomplish? What are the stories that you want to tell? And so that we put the audit in July, the plan for August, and then in September we put together the content plan, the content calendar. And essentially those first 3 months, and this year we did it differently. Last year we kind of dripped it out over the first 3 months. This year we released all 3 tasks at once because we know it's so important that you get that good head start on your year and you put all those pieces together, because that's the foundation for your year as club public image chair or as club president, is having all of those pieces in place, and they'll serve you well throughout the year. So first up is the club social media audit. And here's the link. Let me see if I can, let's see if we can drop that link. HTTPS RotaryShares.org/. I made the links super easy this year so that they're easy to remember, just year and month. And so this is the one for July. And again, it's a social media audit, and it's asking, you know, do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a website? Do you have an Instagram? Do you have a Twitter? Do you have a YouTube? We did get our first TikTok come in the other day. I saw it. No videos yet, but they do have a TikTok account, which I thought was really cool. I was anxious to see if they had anything in it yet. And then the second part of that is, did you check those websites to make sure that they were compliant in terms of brand and in terms of information? So that's the July task, which is so super important. And then in terms of the August, it's the public image plan. So who's on your team? Who's going to be responsible for what? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? Do you have a budget? Some clubs might have a little bit of a budget that they can provide their teams. And so we want to see all that. And we do have, there is an example of a public image plan up there in the toolkit, if you want to go see what one looks like. The other cool thing about this form that you'll go to if you go to this link is you can start working on your form. And then if you're not done, or if you need to come back to it, you can save it. And the system will email you a link that goes to that form, so you can go back later and pick it up and finish it out. So the public image plan, if you don't want to knock it out in one sitting, you don't have to. Going back, we're in the midst of the Olympics, and let's go ahead and award some gold medals here. So far, through about 5 o'clock today, 70-20 is on the top of the podium. They're in gold medal contention. Congratulations, 70-20, with 19 clubs registered so far for the social media audit. And then let's see, someone said they're not seeing the toolkit. So if Kim or Allison, if you could, I think it's up in the chat. If you scroll up, if you can find it. So 70-30 is on the silver medal. They're in second place. They've got 8, and then 69-10, they're on the podium with 9. And so we still have some time left, but 70-20 is certainly leading the way with the gold medal with 19 registrations. For the public image plan, again, this is not due until August 31st. And again, 70-20 is in gold medal contention. They've got 4 public image plans submitted so far. 69-10 has jumped up to second place in this one with 3. And then 69-60 has 2. And I can tell you, I told you guys that you can have that link sent to you and you can go back and finish later. I can tell you that I see a lot of incompletes. So I know a whole bunch of you are working on this. So it's great to see. But just remember, that's going to be due at the end of August.
Marshall, we have a question. Are clubs eligible for the PI citation if they do these tasks a little late?
That's a great question. So what we're going to do is, again, we don't want to see clubs in March saying, oh, I'm going to go complete the July task. So that just wouldn't follow the 4-way test. So what we're going to do is on September 30th, at the end of essentially the first quarter of the Rotary year, we're going to go ahead and close out these forms. So you won't be able to go back in and register. So you have 3 months to do all 3 tasks. You have all 3 tasks available to you, which is something that we did differently this year. So if you want to work on all 3 at once, you can. But on September 30th, we're going to take all the tasks down. So be mindful of that. That's a good question. Thank you, Susan Quarter. With the public image, we did the public image plan, and next up is the content calendar. And content calendar, essentially, it's plan your work, work your plan. So we've talked about this before, but kind of laying out the 12 months of the Rotary year and saying, all right, I know that October is World Polio Day. So we're going to do some content around World Polio Day in October. I know that November is the foundation month. So we're going to hit foundation content on Facebook and Instagram in the month of November. And maybe our club has a giant fundraiser in February. So we know we're going to do some content leading up to that, maybe in January and February. So go ahead and kind of map out for the entire year those things that you want to be posting and have that plan in place. And I can tell you, you may have some gaps in your plan. There may be a month where you don't have a whole lot of content or there's not a lot of stuff that you have planned. You can always go to rotary.org and go to the Rotary Facebook page and the Rotary Instagram account and the Rotary Twitter and the Rotary blog. And you can find some really cool content to repurpose. Kim is, if you're on the Facebook group for zones 33 and 34, Kim does an amazing job of curating content from all those channels and puts them up there. And so, Kim, you want to talk a little bit about how you find those resources?
So basically, I have just subscribed to just about anything Rotary everywhere. And so my feed doesn't have my friends on it anymore. It has all of those things.
Has your Rotary friends, Kim.
Sorry, friends, if you're posting stuff, I don't see it anymore. I just see Rotary things. But what that does give me is all kinds of great content to share. And hopefully everyone's enjoying that content. A lot of feed 10 million stuff.
Absolutely. So Kim, and that's a great teaser there too. We are starting up the Feed 10 Million campaign again this year. And I know we've asked all the district governors to submit their Feed 10 Million champion, but I think last year we got up to maybe, was it 6 million meals? We had a great year, but we didn't quite hit the 10 million. Do you remember what it was, Kim?
I don't remember the end number, but I know that there's probably a ton of clubs who did projects where they fed people and just didn't report it to us. So they're already doing the work and just forgot to tell us.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll make sure that we get all the resources out to you all for the Feed 10 Million, because I mean, just what a wonderful program that is. And if you see any of the posts that Kim puts on the Zone 33, 34 Facebook group, there's a link in all of those where you can go and submit your own. So if you scroll through that, every one of those has that link so you can submit your own. And that's something that you'll hear us talk a lot about is whenever we post stuff, we want to have a call to action in our posts. We want to help people know what that logical next step is that they need to do. And so if it's if it's a Feed 10 Million post, we want to tell clubs what clubs are doing, but we also want to encourage them to report their own. I know of a lot of clubs that did great projects and didn't report it. One of the other great places you can find excellent Rotary content is by following hashtags on Instagram. I always talk about hashtags, but so many of you all are using the hashtag Rotary Shares, which we like to use here in Zone 34. And I see a ton of great content coming from clubs across the zone that use hashtag Rotary Shares. And so that's another great place to find out what others, and we talk about, copy and use other districts for inspiration, other clubs for inspiration, because there's a lot of great ideas out there that you can use for your own.
Marshall, before we move on, there's a quick question about a great question from Bjorn. And I'm going to add this, or should these plans also be followed by the Rotaract clubs?
Absolutely. And I know we have Rotaract clubs loaded in for districts 70-20 and 70-30. And we're working on getting Rotaract clubs loaded for the other districts across Zone 34. And if your Rotaract club is not in there, please send us an email and we will make sure that we get that team loaded, or that club loaded. So rotaryshares.org, I'm going to drop our email address in here, Z34RPIC team at rotaryshares.org. If you go there and you see that your Rotary Club is not in there, please let us know. Or if your Rotary Club is there, we try to keep those up to date with reports from Rotary. And so, yeah. Amanda just said, is there an updated link we should be using? Oh, the links for August and September are still for 2021. That might be a typo in the header. It's probably the right one. It's just, we might have used the wrong header in there. So that's Amanda, thanks for pointing that out. I'm going to check that out after this call and make sure that we got that fixed. Moving on, Rotary also has a great quick start guide for club social media pages, and that's also up there in the toolkit as well. I'm gonna go find that toolkit in our chat real quick because I know it was a while ago, and I'm gonna drop it in here. Again, it's in the chat. So download that, and again, great resources to help you with your club social media pages. You know, one other place, let me put this in here. And we'll be sending out an email with the recording to tonight's session tomorrow, and we'll include all the links that we're discussing right now. We do have past webinars out there as well, and I put that in the chat. Go back and watch the boot camp, the Public Image boot camp, and we talk a lot about social media channels and the demographics that you might want to use, or that cover the various social media channels. If you're looking to get younger folks, look to Instagram or Twitter. If you're looking to just speak to your base, that's going to be a lot of Facebook. But this is a great resource that's put together by Rotary International. And then, yeah, here's the zone resources. Our website is rotaryshares.org/web. Actually, we fixed it, so you can just drop that .web or /web and just go to rotaryshares.org. We have a blog that we, unfortunately, and we'll be the first to admit it, we did a little posting and ghosting last year. No one's perfect, I know. We'll be doing more posting there this year, but we try to put stuff that we find that we like. We try to put recaps of webinars up there, but you can check out our blog. We've got a lot of great videos. rotaryshares.org/video. Our Canva team, you'll learn that we love Canva. It's a great resource that we created the slide deck tonight. We're actually in Canva right now presenting. And so we use a lot of Canva, and we encourage you to do the same. And we have a Canva team that you can join at rotaryshares.org/Canva. And then, during the pandemic, we put together some streaming resources. A lot of clubs were moving to hybrid, or a lot of clubs were moving 100% to virtual, of course. Then we went to hybrid. And it is great to see so many clubs are going to continue to do the hybrid model, even after, we're done with this nasty pandemic. I think it's fantastic to see clubs are going to continue to some extent with some hybrid models. And I think that's fantastic because it's going to help us keep Rotarians engaged and meet Rotarians where they are, especially lunch clubs. I'm in a lunch club, and I tell them all the time, it's so hard nowadays to break away for 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day to go to a Rotary meeting. And if occasionally you have to hop onto a Zoom call, I think it's fantastic. A lot of the demographics of our Rotary clubs are starting to skew older. And so some folks might have a hard time making it to every Rotary meeting, but I think the hybrid model is going to help us keep those Rotarians engaged. And I tell you, during the pandemic, some of the best Rotarians on Zoom were folks that are some of our most experienced Rotarians. And so it's been a fantastic way to see Rotarians adapt and really excel during some pretty bad circumstances. Okay, so someone just asked how to join the Canva team. So yeah, so if you go to https://rotaryshares.org, that's going to take you directly to our Canva. And a lot of Rotary clubs are already posting examples. And that's really what it is, again, to see what other Rotary clubs are doing and to emulate, copy, use templates. Don't ever modify directly if you can. Please make copies before you make changes. Because it is kind of easy sometimes to make a change to someone's design. So make a copy before you do any edits. Future webinars. I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm really excited about our very next webinar after this one. And that's because we are going to have Rotary Trustee Chair John Germ speaking to us. And we want to have, across the zone, we want to have amazing World Polio Day events this year in October. And last year we did this webinar in September, and we realized that doing a webinar in September to plan an event 3 weeks later is not ideal. And so we're going to do this one in August and give you 2 full months to plan a Rotary event, a World Polio Day event. And we're going to hear from past RI president and current chair of the trustees, John Germ. And he's going to talk to us about polio and the polio campaign. He has been at the forefront of this campaign. And it's, really exciting to know that, and I don't know if the numbers have updated since Thursday, but there's only been 2 cases of the World Polio virus on Earth this year. And, again, as Rotarians, you don't have to convince us that vaccines work. And I know that's something, this gives us a chance, to hop on to the conversation this year. This makes us super relevant as Rotarians, let me tell you, because we can talk about the effectiveness of vaccines and maybe using hashtag vaccine or vaccine works. And we'll show up in some feeds that we don't normally show up in, and allow Rotary to become a part of this conversation and talk about the great work that we've done with polio. So when you register for this webinar, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the chat. And again, I'm going to have all these links in an email that's going to go out tomorrow. But when you register for the webinar, we are going to ask you if you've done a World Polio Day event in the past, and to provide any examples or any, metrics, how many people attended or how much exposure or what's your reach. Definitely looking for some examples that we can maybe include in this webinar. So if you've got some experience, let us know. We're also going to ask if you've got one planned so far this year. I definitely want to keep track of everyone that's going to be doing a World Polio Day event on October 24th. And so please let us know if you have something planned, because again, we want to have a really, really great representation in Zone 34 this year for World Polio Day. It's again, a great way for us to be a part of this conversation. And then in September, this is another cool one. This is one that I'm coordinating with District Public Image Chair out of 7030, Sean Patty. Sean has been working closely with Alice Henson. She is the Rotary International photographer, and she has great experience, capturing amazing images and telling the Rotary story through photography. And so right now we're working to confirm this with Alice. I've heard her speak before, and she does a fantastic job. And so that's going to be an exciting one into September, is telling the Rotary story through photography. And if you have an idea for a webinar, some of these we've done where it's the Zone 34 team talking about some things that we know are pretty important, or we know that people are asking about. So we have put together a number of these webinars. But again, this isn't just, the Zone 34 Public Image Coordinator team talking to Zone 34. If you have an idea for a webinar, if you want to present a webinar, or if you want to help participate in a webinar, please, we have a form that we have up on rotaryshares.org, and you can share with us your ideas for webinars and whether or not you want to participate. Because again, we know so much of the great work that happens in Rotary happens at the club level. And I've said before, if anyone tells you they know everything about public image or social media or communications or technology, they're not following the 4-way test. And we know at the zone level that that's true for us too. And there's so many great resources across our zone, people that have just tremendous knowledge. And so if there's something that you think would benefit our zone in terms of a webinar, please fill out that form and let us know, because we want to definitely make this inclusive of all Rotarians in Zone 34. One other thing is you can invite us to speak to your club, especially those of you that are still doing a lot of hybrid meetings, a lot of Zoom. It's very easy for us to pop in anywhere on Earth. It's funny. We always make the joke that some Rotarians, some folks on this team, they only speak to breakfast clubs if they meet after noon. That's still probably the case for a couple of the members, but we're happy to speak to Rotary clubs at any given time. And now there's also the opportunity that we perhaps could come travel and meet with you and speak to your club in real life, our IRL, right? So invite us to speak to your club. Again, I'm going to put the contact information for all of our folks if you want us to come speak to you. Please let us know or if there's a district event that you want us to come visit. Please let us know, because absolutely it's so fantastic to be amongst Rotarians. And I know in the past month, I've gone to 2 real Rotary events again. I went to a district conference and then a Rotary planning meeting. And it's so fantastic being around Rotarians again. The last year has been really tough to only see my friends 2-dimensionally on a screen. So definitely looking forward to getting back out there again. But, most of all, one of the things that we want to do this year is continue to innovate. We know that it's important that we continue to think of new ways to tell the Rotary story, to think of innovative ways to do campaigns. And I'm going to leave you with this quote, which I've left a couple of times, but this is Scott Harrison, and he spoke at a conference I went to recently. He's the CEO of Charity Water. And this quote that I love is from his book. He said, "As I looked at charities, I saw bad websites. I saw anemic brands." He said Nick Kristof had written in the New York Times that people are peddling toothpaste with more sophistication than all the world's life-saving causes. And where was the Nike, the Apple, the Virgin? Where were these imaginative, inspiring charities? And that's what we need to think about as Rotarians. We know how valuable the Rotary brand is, and we know how important what Rotary does around the world, how important the work that we do is. We serve people and communities around the world that we may never see again. And we need to be thinking of that as we think about the ways that we tell the Rotary story and the ways that we do our public image campaigns. Instead of just, kind of mailing it in, think about those innovative, creative ways that you can tell these Rotary stories. And just, campaigns or fundraisers, or just all the ways that we can tell the Rotary story. And let's really do some innovative things this year. Our team has some ideas. We've done some things in the past that have been pretty neat, and can certainly speak to your clubs and your districts about. But again, a lot of the work happens in Rotary at the club level. And we know so many of you have done some really cool stuff. So we want you to tell us about it. But if there's one charge and one goal that I can provide you or give you this year, it's think about the ways that you can tell the Rotary story this year that are just going to amaze people. And you may get inspiration from other corporations or other things that you see. Take those ideas and make them your own, and turn them into ways to promote Rotary. Finally, we talked about that Rotary Shares hashtag. We like to put it on everything that we can so that we can see what other clubs in Zone 34 are doing. And so use that hashtag when you can on your Instagram, your Facebook, or your Twitter posts. And let's see what everyone's doing. So with that, I know we went through a whole lot of material, gave you a whole lot of links, and I told you we'll send all those links out in an email. We'll also make this recording available. But at this time, let's open it up and see if you have any other questions or any questions about the citation or anything. So we're going to open it up right now.
Marshall.
Yeah.
This is George Lopos, Rotary Club, Cherokee County. I apologize, I came in late, so I have a question. Was there a discussion at all? Is there any Rotary position on the COVID-19?
I believe currently the Rotary position is that Rotary, no one is mandated to go to any Rotary event. So if your club had attendance or anything like that, I know Rotary said that no one should be mandated to attend any Rotary event. Other than that, I know, I just got off a call recently with just minutes ago with RI Director Peter, and he said that since this Delta variant has really popped up again, the board of directors hasn't reconvened, and so that's going to be a pretty big agenda item on the next board of directors agenda. But haven't heard any updates.
Okay, a larger question than meetings and that kind of mobility. The larger question being whether Rotary has taken a position on the efficacy or that we should be vaccinated.
I can tell you that I see John Germ all over the place on Facebook. And I know every time I see a COVID post about vaccines, I see John giving the thumbs up and saying vaccines work. And so as Rotarians, I think we know that vaccines work. And I see a lot of Rotary. No, there's nothing
There-
formal,
there's
but
no
I see a lot of
formal.
Rotary leaderships,
Okay.
being consistent with our messaging that we know vaccines work. But
Okay.
from a formal edict or anything like that, no.
Okay, thank you.
Even immediate past president Holger posted when he was getting the vaccine, posted pictures of himself getting the vaccine. So
Oh, and he was just on something this week, and he had his mask on, but he was also talking about the vaccine. I think he was in Austria or something. Yeah, so we see all of our Rotary leadership supporting the vaccine.
So we're doing by example,
That's right.
right?
All right.
Marshall,
yeah.
Did you see Sean's question in the chat? There are several versions of RI voice and visual identity guidelines, which may be found using Google search.
Yep. So Sean, I might have gotten a little bit cute there. I told you not to do a Google search for a Rotary logo, but then I told you to do a Google search for the visual guidelines. Always go to the Brand Central or the Brand Center to download anything. So I might have to take that slide out. That's a good point.
Marshall, I have a question. What do you say to the clubs who don't have a public image chair? Because we run into that a lot around our district.
Yeah, well, I would recommend that they go back and look at the pub. Well, Susan, are these big clubs or small clubs, or I mean, what is there a size that says that they don't or that doesn't have a chair?
I think it's across the board. I mean, we have some small clubs that have, 15 members and they have public image chairs who are really active.
That's right.
But then we have larger clubs that just aren't making it a priority like they do for membership and foundation.
Yeah, I'd recommend, folks go back and watch that public image boot camp. We've been doing that for a couple of years, and we really lay it out where it's really everyone's responsibility in a Rotary Club to tell the Rotary story day in and day out, whether that's wearing your lapel pin or crazy pants or whatever. It's everyone's job to tell the Rotary story. But, clubs really do need, I mean, just like membership, everyone's responsible, but everyone should have a public image chair that at least is publishing. And it used to be the communications chair. Maybe it's the newsletter chair, but someone that is putting something out that's telling folks what it is that makes your club different and unique, and why people should visit and why people should join Rotary. I don't think a Rotary Club would be successful without a membership chair or a foundation chair. And how are you going to tell folks about the great things that Rotary does or why they should join if you don't have a public image chair? So, and it doesn't have to, it can be as intensive and as involved of a position as you want. Maybe you have a large committee, or maybe it's just, something small, but every club to some extent should have some sort of a communications chair that's telling these Rotary stories. Thank you. Vincent said, isn't it within the compulsory commission? And I think Kim pointed this out. Rotary.org, when you register on Rotary.org, you have to list your president-elect, your membership chair, and your foundation chair, right, Kim? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones still? You don't have to list a public image chair. And it's really unfortunate because, again, we talk about the three-legged stool and how tightly integrated these three positions are. And you'll sit on some of our public image talks, and we will start talking about membership, or we'll start talking about foundation, because public image is really the catalyst that makes all that happen. It's how you tell the story to encourage people to want to be a part of this. It's how you tell the stories of the things that we do around the world, the clean water, the vaccines, the literacy projects. Public image is it's an integral part of everything that Rotary does. And it really is a shame that, folks don't have a public image chair.
Marshall, but having said what you just said, and again, I'm not tied into the larger people up top, why isn't it a requirement or mandate?
It's something that we're talking about, and I know the RPIC team continues to ask that it be required. I know that we put out to the district governors. We ask all the district governors, please tell us who is your district public image chair. And then when we get to the district public image chair level, we ask, who is your club public image chair? Because we know that, again, all the work in Rotary happens at the club level. And so if we can work directly with the public image chairs and help them be successful, it bubbles up and makes Rotary successful. So we do everything we can to get to the club level and to support the club as much as we can, because again, that's where all the work happens.
But at the same time, you're required to have a treasurer.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, I won't go there.
So Sean Patty made a good comment, and they are asking them to please report it, but it's not a mandatory field. So that's really the difference. But if they do report who their PI chair is, then they get lots of resources that Sean already put out there in the chat. So it's a really good point.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. I think Bjorn has a question. He had his hand raised. Bjorn, what's up?
Good evening, everyone. Bjorn here from District 7030, Rotary Club of Paramaribo, the Caribbean. I wanted to ask something because I saw that we are speaking about public image, right? But there is public speaking as in social media, what other people see, but there's also that aspect of how we are in the public as people of the Rotary. What I seem to miss sometimes is the proper knowledge from the Rotarians. Not that it's not given, but the proper knowledge from the Rotarians as how they dress, how they bring themselves, how they communicate. I know that it comes with expertise and it comes with the work environment and years and years, but how can, I want to ask if maybe y'all can have sessions, maybe public image sessions, or maybe somewhat more of that so that we Rotaractors can get a catch up and know what you all are doing so that we can also do it ourselves.
That's a great point, and sometimes we do kind of move and talk too heavily about social media and online stuff, but public image absolutely is everything, whether it's, and we don't talk enough about newspapers and radio. I mean, those are still viable media channels in a lot of communities. A lot of the smaller communities, that's the only way that, people, it's one of the best ways to communicate. So, we do talk too much sometimes about social media because it is the most prevalent, perhaps, and the most maybe sexy. But you're absolutely right. We need to think about Rotary and the public image as a whole. And like I mentioned, wearing the lapel pin or being able to wear a shirt with a Rotary logo. And to your point, how do we conduct ourselves publicly? And one of the things, that we've really seen, I know here in the United States in the last couple of years is just some of the nastiness and the polarization that we see on our social media channels. And we need to remember, not that I'm saying, we should censor ourselves, but we're Rotarians and we should be very careful sometimes with the things that we say, because, we should be the kind of that oasis, that good stuff in someone's news feed, not some of the polarizing, nasty stuff that we see. And, I'm not going to take anyone's freedom of speech away, but I just, remember, we're Rotarians and we have that ethical standard that we need to adhere to in everything that we do, because people do look to us as, part of society that, pillars of society. John Germ called us, the all-stars. You're the people in your communities that get things done. We're the all-stars. And we need to think about that as we're posting some things on social media. And instead, let's get more positivity out there. So that's a great point, Bjorn. Not just what we're posting, but I mean, not just just think about everything that you do as a Rotarian.
Marshall, quick question. Given the scope of your awareness of the different clubs, not just Rotary clubs, how do we compare with the other social service clubs?
Yeah, I think Rotary does pretty well in terms of awareness nowadays. I mean, I think about Rotary today, and I think about Rotary 10 years ago, and I think about some of the perceptions, and I think about Rotary like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I think Rotary is it's amazing, some of the changes that we're seeing in Rotary. It's very exciting. I do know that recently someone did bring to my attention, there was an ad campaign out there by the Lions Club right now that's pretty successful, and said, well, Rotary needs to do something similar to that. So I know the other community organizations are just like Rotary, and they're fighting for survival. And so we've been kind of stuck at 1.2 million for a while. So it's something that we need to be mindful of, is making sure that we continue to have a strong public image campaign and to continue to recruit. So in terms of how we compare, I don't necessarily follow them as much, but I have heard recently that some folks did point out a couple of pretty nice posts by a couple of by the Lions clubs.
Well, that's the basis of my question, and that is because we are directly or indirectly competing with these people for membership, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked about small communities a minute ago, and it's funny, in some small communities, there'll be a Rotary club, and then all of a sudden someone spins off and starts a Lions club, or the Chamber of Commerce, everybody in the chamber goes and joins the Lions club, and then you got to shift over to the Lions. And so I think maybe in some of the smaller communities, sometimes that can be a more of a battle. Larger communities, I don't see a whole lot of those other organizations every day where I'm at, but I know that they're still there.
We've had a good suggestion for an upcoming webinar, a TV interview or radio training communication would be a good idea. But Sean had a question for the Rotary Police.
Yeah.
When should the original version of the Mark of Excellence be used versus when the simplified version should be used?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the size of the media that you're on. So if you're on if you're going to have a high resolution, maybe like my screen here, the overlay at the bottom, there you can use the traditional version. When do you use the simplified version? A lot of times, if it's going to be in a very small, compact area where you can't get that detail of the wheel necessarily, and you need to use the simplified version of the Mark of Excellence. I can tell you that I am wearing the Rotary shorts, and on the Rotary shorts, we do use the simplified wheel because it was too hard to get the detail for the Mark of Excellence on there. So it depends on the usage. But that's a great question, Sean. And you know what, Sean? That is in the visual identity guidelines. It talks about when to use the simplified and when to use the Mark of Excellence, the original version. So if you have specific questions, or maybe you have an application that you aren't quite sure, you can go look at the visual identity guidelines. All right, it's 6:57 coming up at the top of the hour. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I tell you, it's been a great turnout tonight. It's been so fantastic to see everybody. And I'm really excited to start this new Rotary year. Any last thoughts, Alison or Kim? Oh, Kim, you're muted. The catchphrase of the 2020s.
I just want to say you guys are awesome. Thanks for stepping up to share the fun work that your clubs and districts are doing. We're really excited to have you on board. We're going to have a fun year, a great year, and we're going to share a lot of really good content so that everyone can be all they can be.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that when I took over this position last year, I challenged this team was, I really wanted to see a lot of content, generated, whether it's webinars or, guidelines or blog posts or stuff like that. And this team has put together a tremendous amount of content. And that's the goal, is to provide you all with the resources and tools to help make your jobs easier. And so the team, again, did a great job this past year. And this new team that we've assembled with the new members, it's going to be pretty exciting this year as we continue to create content. Alison, awesome to have you on the team.
I'm looking forward to a fantastic year with everyone.
Very good. I'm glad to have you on board. Well, with that, everyone, it's great to see you all tonight, and look forward to catching up again soon. We'll get those links out so you all can register for the World Polio Day prep webinar, as well as download this video so you can go back and watch it and take a look at all the resources. So again, thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care, everyone.